Welcome back, everyone. As usual, we are two dudes talking 80s. I'm John. That's my partner in crime, Lewis.
Hello.
Apparently, he's big in Japan. Before we start our episode, I got to do a little bit of a recap. Last weekend, I had the pretty epic 80s weekend, and I had to share it with you. So, last weekend on Friday, I saw Richard Marx.
Nice.
And when he came out and played Satisfied, Tracy Guns from LA Guns actually joined in on the fun. Saturday, I saw Taylor Dane and Sheena Easton. And I know Sheena Easton back in the day did something for little Louie. And on Sunday, it wasn't so much an 80s thing, but I went and saw. Do you remember not Fandango, Famous Monsters of Filmland? They used to have those magazines back in the day, and it always had a monster on the cover.
I
I
don't.
remember those back in the day. I guess it's back, and they were doing they did a weekend film festival of classic horror films. And so I went on the last day of the festival on Sunday to see the Universal classics, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, and I saw Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which is one of my all-time favorite flicks. Um,
Awesome.
but for Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, they actually had Tom Holland come out and introduce it. And Tom Holland directed one of my all-time favorite movies, which is Fright Night from the 80s. And then the gentleman that came out and introduced the Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, gosh, I forget his first name. I think it's Ryan Decker. I know I have the last name right. I probably made a mistake on the first name. I apologize. But he introduced that 80s classic, The Monster Squad.
Nice. Oh, how awesome.
Wolfman's got nards. So yeah, very 80s weekend for me. So we're gonna take some time and in the 80s there were a lot of great third movies or the thirds, right? You had Rocky 3, you had Lethal Weapon 3, you had Jaws 3 in 3D. All right, let's forget the last one. But this is actually the first time we're going to do the third time we're going to go around. And this time we're talking about, for the third time, lost hits or lost songs of the 80s.
Okay.
Why do you look all, you know what we're doing? You look like you're all quiz, like, what are we doing here?
I thought you were going down a different road, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I misunderstood.
Okay, it wouldn't be the first time. So
No.
we've discussed it in the past. We talked about some of those songs, and like I said in the past, what we're really looking to do is we're looking to reintroduce you to, or maybe introduce you to the first time, some songs that were really great in the 80s that you might have forgotten about. So we hopefully hit on a few of those where you're just like, oh man, I forgot about that song and it's awesome. And that's our goal. And Lewis is having way too much fun over there. Is there a drink there I didn't see? Were we doing a drinking episode and no one told me?
No, it's just that I went rogue again, and I am not listing a lot of songs that I actually liked in the 80s, but they are definitely ones that we forgot about. And
There's songs you didn't like, but you're gonna make people. Oh, geez. All right. Well, why don't you start us off on one of those? Because, as usual, yeah, the whole idea of this is to give people some enjoyment of 80s songs that they forgot about or even missed, and you're going to turn them on to some songs that apparently suck. So go ahead.
so they were hits, right? So some people liked them. I just wasn't one of them. So let me tell you, I went down an absolute rabbit hole with this yesterday. I took my old man nap a little later than I should have, and then I drank a Coke, which I never drink. So I was on, a caffeine buzz. I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning on the internet looking for stuff. So I've got like 20 songs that I could pick from, but I saw that there was
Pick
this
a
theme
few that
here.
you might like.
I saw that there's a theme here that I thought, well, let me go with this. So yeah, these are mainly songs that I didn't care for. I'm going to start off with one that was called The Rain. All right. And this was by a guy named Orin, and his middle name is Juice. And his last name is Jones, so Orange Juice Jones. And the song was released in September of 1986. And I don't know if you remember the song. It's I saw you walking in the rain.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, yeah. What cracked me up about it is in the chorus where he sings that in the background when he says I saw you walking in the rain, you hear somebody in the background go, and him. Anyway, I ended up downloading this off of iTunes. It's on my phone now, so I must not hate it that much, but because that part just cracked me up so much. Anyway, it was a lost song that you don't really hear very much anymore, and I thought I would go ahead and bring it up.
All right. Well, cool. I'm gonna go with a different slant. I'm gonna go with songs that I actually really like, and I would like for people to either be reintroduced to them or introduced to the first time. And I'm gonna go with one of my all-time favorite ballads first. And this was released in 1987. It actually went to number one, which is surprising because you never hear it on the radio. I never hear it anywhere, and that's Gloria Stefan's "Anything for You." And that is just such a beautiful, beautiful ballad. It conjures up all sorts of emotions for me. I've heard her perform it in concert. It was amazing to see, and why it doesn't get airplay or any sort of recognition these days when it went to number one, I don't know. But if you've heard it and forgot about it, or you've never even heard about it, check it out. It's a beautiful, beautiful ballad. Anything for You, Gloria Stefan.
That's actually a really good one. I had forgotten about that one. The one that you
That's
mainly hear
the
on the
goal.
that is the goal. And you actually like that one, so you're actually coloring within the lines. The one that you hear from them the most, right, is the conga. That's one that sticks in my head. Like, come on, baby, do that conga, blah 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 blah. Um, but yeah, I'd forgotten about that one completely.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that she came to visit me from Tennessee. And back in those days, this had to be late 80s, maybe early 90s. Um, back in at Fisherman's Wharf, they had this thing where you could go in and you could record a song. It was like karaoke, but you could actually record it, and you had songs to pick from where you could lay down the lead vocals. And they had these scattered for a brief minute around. I think Fashion Island had one too, but some of the places, different places had these. It wasn't a popular trend. It didn't last very long. And she went in and she said, "What should I do?" And I said, "No, do Anything for You by Gloria Stefan." And she recorded an amazing version of it. And so, like I said, it's always been one of those songs very near and dear to my heart. Great ballad, just a beautiful, beautiful tune.
Very cool. Yeah, I remember one of those booths. I think they had them at Great America too. So yeah, for a little while they were a thing. So the next one I'm going to go with is a song that was very, very sleepy, and it's still super sleepy and slow, and I disliked it, and I think I dislike it more after did a little bit of research on it. Excuse me. The artist is Stacy Ladisaw, and the song is called "Love on a Two-Way Street," and it was sort of an R&B hit. The video that refreshed my memory of it was on Soul Train, and she had this whole like Millennium Falcon hairdo thing going on, man. It's just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Super 80s, hated the song, hate it even more now. But yeah, if you have a chance, go out and check out that Soul Train video, and you'll see exactly what I mean. It's like she's wearing this hair hat, it's hilarious.
All right, so I'm gonna have to say from now on you are banned from late naps and drinking a Coke, because apparently the purpose of this whole thing is completely went by the wayside. So I don't remember that song at all. Is it on your phone now? Did you download it?
That one I did not download. That one I think I'm going to stay really far away from.
All right, well, once again, I'm gonna go with the song that I really like because I care. And this person came out. Their first song was a huge hit. They never kind of did anything else that ever went to that level. But they had a lot of success later on with songwriting for other artists and things. And I'm talking about Aldo Nova. And in 1983, his second album came out, which was a concept album called Subject. And on it, there's a track, and I think it was the first single from this, and probably the only single from Subject, called Monkey on Your Back. And it's kind of similar to Fantasy. It's kind of got that same kind of pulsating, rhythm guitar with the keyboards, but it's a fantastic song. Yes, it's reminiscent of his previous work, but still a fantastic song. Something you guys should check out. Great hard rock song. I was trying to look it up. I think that album only went gold, and it took to like 1995 or something to finally go gold. And obviously, Fantasy was a bigger hit, and probably still the better song. But Monkey on Your Back is a pretty close second.
I remember the name of that song, and I'm positive if I go and listen to it, I'll go like, "Oh yeah, I totally remember this one." But I don't off the top of my head right now. I'm definitely gonna have to go look at that.
Yeah, and again, that's the goal. Not to be, telling people, "Hey, go watch this god awful video, this lady with a horrible haircut in a crappy song." Trying to get people to
Somebody liked
listen
her.
to good music.
Somebody liked her. She made it, into the top whatever it was. I mean, it was a bona fide hit. I remembered it. So just because I don't like it doesn't mean other people are not going to like it.
All right. Well, let's give us the next song we shouldn't listen to, please.
All right, the next one is one that's not completely lost. I've heard it on the radio a few times, and it's by an artist called Jermaine Stewart, and the song is called "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off." And this came out in May 1986. And when I first heard this, and actually until I was researching it last night on my caffeine high, I thought it was like he was a teenager, right? And I thought it was this really young kid singing the song, and I was thinking, I always thought to myself, dude, you're doing puberty wrong if you're thinking that you don't take your clothes off to have a good time. You're just doing it wrong. So I come to find out that the guy was like in his late 20s, and I don't know if that makes it better or worse. Uh, After I read up a little bit more on it, some people thought it was something that he was just trying to instill modesty in people. It was a time where AIDS was sort of running rampant, and that he had written this song to sort of coincide with that. And sort of on a downer note, he sort of coincidentally died of AIDS, cancer-related AIDS, in 1997 at age 39.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. Thanks for bringing me down that. Um, but he did drink cherry wine.
He
So
did.
he was of age when he wrote this, or somebody staying outside, the 7-Eleven going, "Hey, dude, buy me some cherry wine." I don't know. Could have happened. But I always kind of thought he was just kind of the male version. There were a few songs in that era where it seemed like the women were singing about, hey, slow down, don't, let's not rush into things. Famously, Taylor Dane for me had "Don't Rush Me." Um, I can't think of some other artists, but I remember a lot of female artists sang songs with that kind of slant. That, hey, let's take our time, let's slow down before we jump into the big sex. And I always just thought that this was kind of like the male version of it in an effort to kind of jump on a trend and to promote cherry wine. I don't know. Have you ever seen? Not that I've ever really looked for it, but have you ever seen cherry wine?
No, I haven't. I haven't. And I want to say that I've looked for it once or twice, not like intently, but I've never found
So
anything like that.
you're not going to Bevmo going, "Excuse me, which aisle has the cherry wine?"
It's like looking for blinker fluid, at
Yeah, it's not
at
all
the auto
that
parts
people.
store.
All right, once again, I'm gonna go ahead and continue with a song that I really love, and you never hear it. And it's Night Ranger with "Sentimental Street." It
Nice.
actually went to number 8 in the U.S. charts. It came out in 1985 from their Seven Wishes album. Um, that was I. That might be my favorite song of theirs. There's something about it. Um, and I always loved how they used Jack Blades and Kelly Keegy and used both their voices. I thought more than anybody, that they utilize two singers in a band incredibly, incredibly well, and oftentimes switch off who would do the verses and chorus, but they always mix their vocals really well, and that's such a great song. I just don't know why you don't hear it. It's one of the songs that when I go see them perform, even to this day, I think I have tickets to see them in March.
Nice.
That's probably the one I'm looking most forward to. Every concert I go to, and yes, they've had a lot of hits. Sister Christian probably being their most iconic song. But yeah, if you ask me what song I'd want to hear by Night Ranger, I'd say Sentimental Street, and I don't know why it's never performed or
It
actually
is
played in terms of getting radio airplay.
right, right. It is a really good song. It's probably not one of my favorites. It's super catchy though. I mean, I remember it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago that I just picked up their greatest hits CDs and started playing it, and I
The
was just
cellophane.
no, it didn't have the cellophane,
All
but
right.
I was shocked because I'd forgotten about how many hits that they actually had. And yeah, the way that that song opens up with the wide sounding synths and stuff, and it is a really good song. And you're right, it doesn't get played very much at all anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame, but like I said, Night Ranger. You think Night Ranger, you think Sister Christian, you can still rock in America. Don't tell me you love me, but I'll take Sentimental Street over any of them.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Good pick.
All right, so let's hear about another song that sucks. I'm excited.
This one I have a love-hate relationship with, and I know it's one that's both near and dear to both of our hearts. The song just squeaked in January 1980, so it qualifies. I actually saw some references saying that it was 1979, but I chose to ignore those, and I'm going with the
Okay.
January 1980. So I was turned on to it from a CD that you bought me many years ago that is Lost 70s and 80s. And it was from a gentleman that had a bigger hit called Pina Colada. And of course, I'm referencing Rupert Holmes. And not so, of course, I'm referencing this song called Hymn.
Him, him.
So I always, it's one of those, it's a corny song. You listen to it and the lyrics are a little wonky. And the part that gets me the most is that he does a voice solo, right? It's like he couldn't afford to pay a studio guitarist to lay down a track for him. He's like, nah, I've got this. I'll just hum the solo out. It'll be fine. Nobody will notice anything. And the worst, he could have made it worse by doing it on a kazoo. That's the only thing I think that I can think that would have made it worse. But it is comical. And again, I've got a love-hate relationship with it because I listen to it and I crack up every freaking time.
It's one of those songs you're like, okay, what the hell's going on here? Him, him. It's very interesting if you enjoy those, that kind of music. I watched a documentary recently. I think it was called Sometimes When We Touch, and it's on Paramount Plus, and it's about the soft rock. They call it yacht rock now, obviously. They talk about the soft rock, how popular it was in the 70s. Then it died out and was kind of became this butt of all these jokes, and now how it's had a revival. And it's a very interesting documentary, and he is in it. He actually talks about it, and he actually was very successful in writing for other artists. I was actually doing research on this because I'm like, what the heck have I talked about in the past? And one of the songs I mentioned for Lost Forgotten Songs in episode 1 or 2 that we did on this was the Jets. And he wrote that song, You Got It All.
Hmm.
So was a very successful songwriter, and I guess he's writes plays or does musicals now, and but it sounds like he's very successful. He has had some tragedy in his life, which kind of took him out of the spotlight and everything. But very interesting, and yeah, I agree. It's a kind of a love hate thing with him, but it's a fun song. It's worth a listen. Damn you! Now I've got it in my head. Um, so again, in doing a little bit of research on this, You mentioned this band once before, but I'm gonna go with a different track. And this came out in 1985. I think in the United States it went to number 52, which is somewhat of a hit. Number 21 in Canada because that's where they're from. And I'm talking about Honeymoon Suite from their album The Big Prize, a song called "What Does It Take?" And I love that song. It is such a fantastic song. And it also was featured in One Crazy Summer, which is it stars John Cusack and Savage Steve Holland was the director. It's kind of similar in tone, but not as good as Better Off Dead. But yeah, it's in the movie One Crazy Summer, and just a great, great song. Honeymoon Suite's a band you just never hear. Um, but it's surprising. Their movies, or I'm sorry, their music was used in a lot of movies and soundtracks. And that song is just a great song.
I'll have to go give that a listen because I think I have their greatest hits, and they've got a few good tunes on there. And I'll have to go
Is it
back
in
and see if I can find
cellophane?
that one. It is not in cellophane.
Okay. I think which was the one you meant? Burning Love or something?
Yeah, Burning in Love.
Burning Love. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite of theirs. And again, it was one of those that they don't play very much anymore, and that's I guess part of the reason I like it because you listen to it, it's like, oh, that's right, I remember this one. Anyway, I'm rambling a little bit.
That's okay. I think their biggest probably was, at least in the U.S., was probably "Feel It Again." It's another great lost '80s hit. That's enjoyable to listen to. And but if you ask me about Honeymoon Suite, what does it take? That's probably my favorite Honeymoon Suite song, and it's really worth the listen. If you love '80s rock, kind of like an anthem, it sounds like it's not really a ballad. It's a love song, but it's definitely an anthem kind of song. So check it out, and then check out One Crazy Summer too. If you like Better Off Dead, like I said, One Crazy Summer is not as good as Better Off Dead, but still a good time.
Awesome, awesome. The next one I'm going with is a
The
song that
last one you're going with too, because I'm cutting you off at this.
I actually want to squeeze in a one that I liked, but
Oh,
we'll
okay,
see if
then
we have we'll see if we
go.
have
You've
time.
already gone rogue, so let's why stop now?
So this one for many, many years I thought was a Journey song because the guy is when he sings in his higher register, he sounds a bit like Steve Perry. And the song was released in June of 1980. It's called Into the Night by Benny Mardones. And if you watch the video of it, it's super creepy because the song is basically he's singing about wanting to be this with this girl, but he can't because she's underage, and the father won't let them and whatever. And you watch the video, and the dude's like in his 40s, and he's courting this 16-year-old, and he goes up to the door and knocks on the door, and the father comes up and says, nope, nope, she's too young. And the father looks younger than the guy trying to pick up on the 16-year-old. And it's creepy because, like I said, well, I haven't said, but I'm going to say now, towards the end, he's laying on a flying magic carpet with her, sort of bedding down with her, and she actually looks 16 and he actually looks 40. And it's like, dude, this is so wrong.
You know what? It's funny because I do enjoy that song. I think I had the cassette single of that Into the Night. Had the cassette single, and yes, that's how old I am. And but you're older, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I never paid that much. I remember, the first line was, "She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone," they said.
Oh man, you got it down.
Yeah, karaoke, baby. I'm ready. La. So, yeah, and it's funny, but back then I didn't really pay any attention to it. And Mark, my old roommate, used to be like, "How come you keep listening to this song about this guy that's trying to, hook up with this underage chick, like the child molester song?" I'm like, he never really thought about it like that. I didn't pay too much attention to the lyrics, but it is a really good song, but yeah, I've never watched the video, and now I'm gonna be kind of creeped out. I mean, I don't want to watch the video because it'll make me like the song even less if I watch the video.
I don't know whether to advise you to watch it or not. If you do watch it though, be prepared to be a bit creeped out because it just looks wrong.
All right, so apparently, if you want to, I'm not gonna even go there. All right, so this last one, kind of was an '80s super group, and they had their moment in the sun, and like Icarus, they flew too close, they burned up, and it didn't last very long. But man, what a great song this one is. The singer on it was Paul Young, and the guitar player was Mike Rutherford from Genesis, and the band was Mike and the Mechanics, and I'm talking about All I Need Is a Miracle. And one of my favorite songs actually went to number 5 in 1985. And I actually had the vinyl 45 of this song. And
Wow.
yeah, and I remember listening to this song, even though I was really into my heavy metal, thrash metal phase. Well, not even a phase, I'm still in it. But that's what I mostly listened to back in '85. I remember playing the crap out of this song. There was something about it that just kind of connected with me, and um, just a fantastic song. I know they were a little bit more famous for The Living Years because that was a huge ballad, but I always thought this was, All I Need Is a Miracle is a great song, probably their best song, and something I listen to all the time. So, and you never hear it. It never gets played on the radio, and I don't know why.
It's super rare to hear that one on the radio. I too love that song. I bought that CD for that song. Yeah, The Living Years is great, and I think they've got another one more hit. I think it's called Call to Arms, if I'm not mistaken. Can you hear me? Can you hear me running?
Wow, somebody else is ready for karaoke.
Down with it. But that song was awesome. That song was absolutely awesome. I remember when I bought like my new one of my new cars, I that was the first song I played in it. I made a point to not want to hear anything else other than that song, to pop that in the CD player and listen to it. So really good pick. Awesome, awesome song. I love it.
See, that's what I do. I want to bring joy into people's life. I'm not bringing in songs about child molesters and women that have ugly haircuts and songs that are questionable with, vocal guitar solos or vocal solos in place of guitar solos. I bring joy. You should try and do the same, Will.
You're my yin to your yang or something like that.
Something like that. All right. Go ahead, Yang. Since you're already going rogue, throw your sixth one in.
All right, awesome, man. So I'll be quick with this one. I actually really like this song. It's a song that you really don't hear on the radio anymore. It's tweaked in 1980, and the band was Alan Parsons' project. The song is called Games People Play. And a neat little story I got about this one is that my dad, when Montgomery Wards was still in San Mateo, uh, wild hair he got, he went and bought this big boombox, right? Huge boombox, shortwave radio is like this, and this is huge.
Nine
So
D-cell batteries.
exactly, exactly. So he brought it home and set it up. And when I looked in the cassette player, I saw that there was a CD there. So I don't know if they were using it as a
There was a
demo or
cassette player and a CD in the cassette player.
I'm sorry, there was a cassette player. And when I looked in the cassette player, I saw a cassette in there. And I don't know if they were using it as a demo or what, but it was the Turn of a Friendly Card tape, and it had this song on it. And I just remember listening to it over and over and over. And that was sort of how I was introduced to the song. Then I heard it on the radio, and awesome song. I really, really enjoy that song, and it's not one that you hear very often anymore.
I did it do anything on the charts? Was it released as a single? Do you have any idea?
I don't know if it made it under the charts. And I know that they played on the rock stations a bit, but I don't know if it actually made it under the charts.
Was that the same album that had Eye in the Sky?
I don't think so. I think this one was earlier than Eye in the Sky.
Okay. I don't remember that one at all. But if you're gonna go rogue, I think you should go rogue with a song you actually enjoy, and want people to hear. Thank you for that, Lewis. It took the whole episode for you to do just that. Um, Before we close this out, we have to acknowledge something here. Lewis, you just recently celebrated a milestone birthday.
5'5".
You kind of look like a mime.
Marcel Marceau.
Yeah, exactly. As you can say that. Congratulations on hitting the big 5-5. Have you ordered from the Denny's 55 and over menu yet?
No, I'm waiting for you to get there before we do that.
It's probably not going to happen. So I don't I don't know what to tell you. That's a long way off. That's years from now.
Okay.
All right. Well, happy birthday. Did anything special to celebrate?
Nah, not too much, man. I ran some chores, went and did sushi, so I ate some sushi, which was cool. Um, Other than that, it was pretty chill, definitely going out to celebrate my birthday with you, obviously, this coming week, and we got all kinds of wonderful things prepped. You've got all kinds of wonderful things prepped, so and just looking forward to spending the time with you and Nancy. It's going to be awesome.
It'll be a good time. Well, I'm looking forward to having you here, and I'm glad you're still big in Japan. And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. I do apologize for the guy over there. I try to bring some songs that you may have forgotten but would enjoy, and apparently he hates all of you. So I apologize for that. But like you said, somebody liked these songs, right? That's why they were played. That's why they're performed. And remember, if you go and look into Rupert Holmes' song "Him," and it sticks in your head the rest of the day, do not be mad at me. Be mad at that guy. I didn't do it. He did that to you, not me. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Any thoughts on songs we missed or you think we should have covered? Please throw it in the comments. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. We appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the stupid stuff we do, and we'll continue to do it whether anyone watches or not. So thank you guys, and Lou, take us out, brother.
Peace out.
Thank you guys.